So good morning, everybody. And one of my weaknesses is I get off of script. So I'm going to get off script a little bit, but not much. I got my normal email from Adam Hancock, text last night, 9:53. He said, I won't be here this morning, but if you could get some video, I will help you mentor you. By the way, I'm really relaxed as always. So 8 titles for KWC, 8 for the Wildcats. KWC is very likely to have number 9 this year. I'm not sure about the Wildcats. So anyway, Adam did tell me one of the great things about this particular job was to get to introduce great speakers. And so I get the pleasure of doing that this morning. But before we start, I wanted to say I was reading last night online about Dr. Bertice Berry. And she had a show in 1993, and it got preempted by 1 hour. Her very first show got preempted. The reason it got preempted is because the Israeli-Palestinians had come to a peace treaty. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't get preempted for much more than hecklers most of the time. So that's just another sad story, but we'll get to that later. So thank you. The Chamber of Commerce is proud to welcome Dr. Bertice Berry. With 25 years of lecturing experience, Dr. Bertice Berry has touched the hearts and the minds of people from all walks of life and inspired thousands of corporations, healthcare organizations, colleges, and associations through lectures, series, and team building workshops. She's an award-winning entertainer as well as a best-selling author of 11 critically acclaimed books. Throughout her career, Dr. Berry has been featured on The Oprah Winfrey Show, The Tonight Show with Jay Leno, ABC's 2020, and more recently on NPR's Tell Me More with Michael Martin. Please help me welcome Dr. Bertice Berry.
So I got in yesterday, and I don't know what this place is, but I'm in love. I live in Savannah, Georgia. That's like, you say you live in Savannah, and Wade Jenkins came over and he was introducing himself. Wade has a thing. He's one of the ball players. He'll shake your hand and cross his heart. He's like, Wade Jenkins. So I don't know if it's automatic, if he even knows he does it. But now, from now on, when I say Owensboro, I'm going to go, I was in Owensboro. This place is crazy amazing. And I don't know if you know it. I was like going, what is this? If you ever saw the series on Sci-Fi Channel called Eureka, it was a place where all these geniuses lived. It looks like this. And apparently you all, but you've got like this crazy low self-esteem about it. You say, oh my God, this is amazing. Well, there's still work to do. Stop that. This is crazy amazing. And you sent Maggie to pick me up. 2 minutes into the ride, I was like, okay, I'm coming to the Bluegrass Festival. And she got me. She was like, what kind of music you like? I was like, well, I really love all kind of music. I really, really do. Anything that tells a story. She goes, And the fact that you have as great a symphony as you have bluegrass is crazy to me. And you're walking around like, well, we're little Owensboro. Like, stop that. This is unreal. 4 academic institutions of higher learning. This is unreal, and I love it. I mean, I don't know what it is. I'm just like, what is this? And you're all like, well, it's all right. So I want to talk to you about moving forward with this, and I'm really, really grateful that I was allowed to come here. I'm so grateful to the folks at Wendell Foster's and the work they do. I'm watching that video, and I was like, there's something in my eye. I don't know about you, but I could not, and tears kept coming because it was so powerful. Everybody deserves to feel like that, and you should feel like that just because it's in your community. So before I get started in sharing what I'm going to call the recipe for your continued success, I would like you to help me clean the filter. I think before you learn anything new, you must clean your filter. Every life has a filter. It's like the filter in the dryer. It's right in the front, and there's a note that says clean before each use. I don't do laundry. My mother did the laundry, and laundry skips a generation. Last week I looked in the filter, there was a sweater in it. The filter is there to pull the negative experiences away from you, hold them so you can look at them, learn from them, and not repeat them. If you do not clean your filter, it becomes the window through which you see the world. I'll give you an example. I saw a woman sitting on the steps one day, and she was crying. And I walked up and I said, honey, what's wrong? And she said, when I was 5, my mother forgot me, and she left me on some steps like this. And now when I see these steps, I can't climb them. I said, you look to be about 50. Get up the steps! We all get things caught in our filter. My ex-husband got caught in my filter. I got married and divorced in the same year, and I had to write a country song. It's called If I Shot You When I Met You, I'd Be Out of Jail by Now. Not kidding, it's a real song. There's yodeling and everything. You know, my friends, when they hear me playing country music, they're like looking at me like, what? One day I was listening to country music and a guy called to ask me out. He's like, I was going to ask you out, but is that country in the background? I said, yeah. He said, but you're black. I said, what do you turn on country and turn white? What are you talking about? He said that thing that men say to women that we love to hear. He's like, relax. I was like, I was until you said that. Thank you. Okay. Who are you listening to? I said, Katie Lang. He said, isn't she a lesbian? I said, and a Canadian. He said, are you a lesbian? I said, are you the alternative? That's how I test the room. This is when you know you're in a really unique place. So I have to constantly keep this filter clean. And I think one of the most parsimonious, one of the quickest ways to get there is through gratitude. Not gratitude for someone else, but gratitude for yourself. I find that people who do a lot for other people don't stop to think about what they've done for somebody else. And it's those moments, those stories that enrich us and empower us to keep going. And one of these stories, it happened to me in the airport, and I live in airports, so it happened there. And a little girl was running around in circles, just kept running in circles. And everybody's like, somebody needs to get the kid. And the father was like, somebody needs to get the kid. Yeah. And I knew this look. I have 5 adopted children. They're all born fetal alcohol and crack addicted. My youngest son is autistic. We found out he's just different. He didn't speak until he was 6. It was right after we saw The Lion King. Now he talks like James Earl Jones. I'm not kidding. He's like, cereal, mother. My son chases the ceiling fan, and I let him because that way I know where he is. One day he was chasing the ceiling fan. He stopped. He says, Mother, do you think at this time, this place, this moment, there's another planet where people are doing what we're doing at this time, this place, this moment? I said, oh my God, he's contemplating a parallel universe and chasing the ceiling fan. He's going to move to Owensboro. So I knew this whole thing. I knew what it looked like. And sometimes we can't get to where we need to be because we keep comparing ourselves to somebody we think is already there. I have friends who'll call me. My youngest is now 23. Last one just graduated college. I found money. It was mine. People will call and say, oh, my daughter's going to Harvard Medical School. My son's going to Yale. Oh, Cherie got accepted into Oxford. How's Jabril doing? And I know what they're doing. I know what they're saying. But then I say to him, he's happy. He's an amazing musician. He's taking classes and he works every day. And last year, 17 months ago, he made me the happiest woman in the world one Friday when he called and said, hey, Mom, on Monday, we're going to have a baby. I said, son, you're smart. It doesn't happen like that. It takes 9 months. He said it did. I just was afraid to tell you. I said, baby, that's how you got in my house. When was I ever mad at a baby? And he said, well, every time you saw us, you said, whatever you two do, don't get pregnant. And we already were. I said, I'm so sorry. I've been judging you. And he said, and we were making assumptions. We often stand on either side of the fence. One is judgment, one is assumption, and we can't get any further. And Elena Rose has made me the happiest person. So when I look at this little kid spinning in the airport, I recognize this clearly. And I looked over and I said, "Kid." She said, "What, lady?" I said, "Monsters, Inc. or Frozen? Or Monsters University?" She said, "Monsters University." And I said, "Come here." She came and sat right next to me, like right up under me. And I pulled up my phone and I started to pull it up, and I was going to rent it, but it wasn't available for rent at that time. You had to purchase it for $14.99. So I looked at her and said, "Don't you like Frozen?" She said, "Monsters University, it's right there." I said, "Okay." Put it on, we started watching it. And like with anything, when you're doing the right thing, time flies. So we watched a little bit of it. We couldn't watch the whole thing. They called for our flight. I got on the plane. It was time to go. I said, "I'm so sorry, kid, we can't watch the whole thing." She said, "It's okay, lady, it was fun." Her father said, "Thank you so much." I said, "Yeah, I didn't do it for you." I got on the plane, and then shortly thereafter, this little kid's come. She's going down the aisle like this. She's looking either way. She said, "Lady!" I said, "What?" She said, "Here." She hands me this thing, and I'm like, "What is this?" And I had to put it up close and see. It's the glove to her doll. She said, "Now you have one, and I have one. We sisters." Right? I keep it inside my Kindle. I read a lot. Whenever I touch the side of it, I feel that little lump. And I'm reminded that no matter what I think I'm going through, whatever pain I'm in, whatever I'm experiencing in my life, I have the power and the ability to change somebody else's life, and in so doing, they can change mine. And it constantly cleans my filter. It puts me back on the course to remember who I am and what I'm here to do. So just take a moment to think of something you did for somebody and they came back to say thank you. And let it just wash away whatever you didn't quite make yesterday. We get to do that. So your purpose is not your job, it is your calling. Brilliant psychologist by the name of Naim Akbar says we have to ask ourselves on a daily basis, why me here now? Thank you. Yeah, that's happening today because I don't know where I am. And I'm loving it. Why me here now? I am a sociologist. I taught statistics. Don't hate. But in doing so, I learned something that brilliant poet Muriel Rukeyser said, "The world is not connected by tiny atoms, it's connected by our stories." So I share in the form of stories because I learned the hard way that we're not wired for stats, we're wired for stories. And this town, to me, is why America will never fail. This town, this is unreal. You don't even know, well, you do when you leave. And let me ask, how many of you were born here? And how many of you came here? It's like 50-50. So you get to see that some people come here and fall in love, and then there are some who were born here who are like, "I can't wait to get out of here. I can't wait." And they leave and they go, "I'm back." And you have to say, why me here now? Why did I come here to do this thing? Why at this time? What is it about this place that grows this kind of thing? I spent about 20 minutes this morning at the window looking at what I thought might have been a beaver. But it was the biggest beaver I'd ever seen. I think that's a beaver. Is it a log? No, it's a beaver. No, that's a... So then I got on Periscope and had people from around the world going, "That's an alligator." I'm like, "Not in this deep water, dum-dum." There's so many fascinating things that we don't stop and see, not only about the world around us, but about our own life, our own self. Why me here now? It's a philosophical question, so don't get caught up in the philosophy of it. I took philosophy as a foreign language requirement. One day the professor walked into the classroom and held up the book and said, "Is this book real? Is it really real? How do we know that it's real?" I said, "Excuse me, I know it's real because it's $59.95. He said, "Good. What evidence do we have that you bought it?" I said, "You trying to say I stole it?" I took it and threw it at him. Then I looked at him and said, "Did you feel that? How do I know that? Did you felt that? If I take you to the woods and shoot you, will anybody hear you die? Again, not something that most people can get. I love you all. So you must know your purpose. You decided years ago, we need to revitalize the downtown. And when we do, it will come. We build it, people will come. You start doing that, and other things came about. I asked people this morning, based on that, what in your life can you revitalize? Because when you do, other things start to come to the front as well. Other things start to improve. Other things get better. Because you decided to focus on that one thing. Embrace your history. Every time I come to Kentucky, anytime I hear, and it's 2 times in 1 week, because I was at Kentucky School Board Association last week. So I reread the book Cassius Clay, The Firebrand of Kentucky. Not the Muhammad Ali book, the abolitionist book. And then I met Clay this morning, and they're like, he's Clay Ford, get it Ford. And I was like, are you named after that Clay? And he's like, yeah, I'm a descendant. I couldn't stop talking to him, and I'm telling him his history. He's like, okay, lady, okay, stop. That book should be required reading by every kid in this state, because it puts you in this position in the world to see how unique you are, how amazing the impact that you had on the history of this nation and the world. Muhammad Ali didn't realize he was named after this firebrand of an abolitionist. And we don't know our history. So know your history and reclaim it. Please, please, please continue to do what I do call quilt working. Quilt working says every piece is connected to the whole, that I am because we are. I did my dissertation on colorism, black on black discrimination, color prejudice within the race. When I was done, I hated all people. They announced in my little church that I was defending my dissertation, and the mothers from the church decided that they were going to come. They said, baby, you having your thing. What time it is? I said, why? They said, we're going to come. I said, please don't. Because at that time, I thought I was one of the high and mighty. I'm getting my PhD. I was 26 years old getting a PhD, and I had arrived. I was the first in my family to go to college, and to be able to do that was pretty cool. So I lied to these beautiful women and told them that it started at 11 when it really started at 10. I'm embarrassed to admit that. But I'm also embarrassed to admit that I didn't realize that old people show up early. They were there at 8:30. They brought food. I successfully defended not because of my brilliance and hard work, but because they fed my committee. And if somebody said something they didn't like, they got to praying out loud. In the name of Jesus, come in the room, my baby trying to get that PD. They didn't know what it was, but they knew it was important to me, and therefore it was important to the kingdom. You've got to have a kingdom mindedness about you. That's why this organization is so powerful throughout the world. That people from China want to come here to be a part of this is powerful. That you've got a woman who couldn't read and all she could do was blink her eyes, but is now reading to kids in the library every week is a powerful story that the world should know. And you have to embrace it like it's a part of your quilt. You have to embrace it like it's one of them big catfish that you get up out of that river. Because come on, when she said, no lie, we got fish the size of a Toyota, I was like, come on, that's like a fish story. So now I got to come for the fish festival. Look to the future with gratitude. Look at it with gratitude. There's a really cool thing that they're doing at Duke University with healthcare. They were using this for patient safety. And they found that patient safety came out of burnout, and burnout came out of a lack of resilience. So they started teaching people to be more resilient by having them do 3 good things. They write down 3 good things that happen every night. You just write down 3 good things every night. And after 5 days, you start to look for good things. The beaver was my first thing this morning. I was like, oh my God, I saw a beaver. /gator. The three good things. And then you begin to see the world that way. And it reframes itself. Maybe I'm some kind of happy high because of three good things. But I'd like to believe that during this Lent season, it's just day 2. Give me some food. That I'm seeing with new eyes. And you know, it's interesting. I do a fast every year, 40 days, 40 nights. I don't eat anything. I drink water and juice. It is grueling. I don't recommend it. I usually cheat on the 29th day. I call it communion. Last year I knew I was wrong because I was in the kitchen going, Jesus, your body needs butter. See, I love that y'all laugh. In Savannah, they don't. This one woman was like, I can't believe you making fun of the Holy Communion. I said, you've never fasted, have you? Because if you ever notice, people who don't do what you're willing to do like to criticize the way you do it. Well, I wouldn't clean that way. You never clean. I said, you've never fasted. She said, how do you know? I said, if you had, you'd know on the 5th day you see Jesus and he's holding a biscuit. She's one of those people, every time you see her, you ask her how she's doing, she's like, I'm blessed and highly favored. And I'm like, then share that with your face. So one year I was on a plane on this fast, and the engine was struck by lightning. 32nd day of the fast, you would think of this heightened mental, spiritual, emotional state. I'd call everyone together to pray. At the very least, we collectively hum. 32 days of fasting, I was not thinking, let us pray. I was thinking, I should have ate. Yesterday, I had that moment again. Because truly, the lightning strike was not as harrowing as the flight was yesterday. And we'd called early to say, you know, there's a big red box over where you live. Are you guys getting tornadoes? And Maggie said, no, we just had some trees go down. Come on. And then I get in her car, and she was like, woo, it was something else this morning. I was like, girl. That plane was doing this, and the guy next to me looked at me and went, ah! I said, it's all right, baby. But in those moments, you think, okay, what do I want to leave? Your legacy is not what you leave when you die. Your legacy is what you leave when you leave the room. When you leave the room, do people go, oh my God, I just love him? Or do they say, thank God he's gone? The legacy of this basketball team is not going to be in the points they score. It was the way they made you feel when you walked through that gauntlet this morning. I don't know about anybody else, but I was skinny, 20, did not need Spanx. This guy's like, what are Spanx? It's a peace treaty between your left thigh and your right thigh. They made you feel good. They made you feel good. They gave us a sense of self and self-worth. And that's what it's about. Laugh more. Those who do the work are the ones who get the punchline. Because if you're not there for the setup, you don't get the punchline. We used to own an art gallery, and I was happy to see that art gallery here. We use the proceeds to help families in need. I know it sounds like a really noble thing. We just got tired of them living with us. When we get a family moved into a house, we'd ask them to come back on moving day to help another family get moved in. And so one of these families that had just gotten moved in came back in. And the mother walked in and her teeth were sticking way out. And we're like, what happened to you? You didn't look like that the last time we saw you. She said, I know. I woke up this morning and something not right. You're like, it sure ain't. She said, help me. Something not right. It took us an hour. We finally figured out she put on her husband's dentures. And we laughed just like you're doing. And you know when something tickles you and you run to tell people and you always tell the wrong person. You tell the one who doesn't like to laugh because you just want them to be happy. Stop wasting good funny on crazy people. Stop wasting good funny on them because there's a guy at my church who tells me the same joke every Sunday, and every Sunday it cracks me up. because I'm reminded of the time that he told it the first time. I was holding my granddaughter, and he comes up and goes, "You heard about the kidnapping?" And I was like, "What?" And he goes, "Kid woke up." Every Sunday he tells me that joke, and I'm like, "Ah!" I'm not laughing at the joke. I'm laughing at the situation that I became fearful, but it was something funny. And we have to learn to laugh. So this family, the teeth, the whole thing, I'm cracking up. And I call one of those people, and we have two different sets of friends. People who will paint, clean, give up their stuff. And then we have another group of people who come after all the work's done for the party. Both are necessary. Do not confuse the two. I call one of those come after everything's done, and I'm like, she came in, her teeth were sticking out, and something not right, it was her husband's dead. She's like, "I can't believe you're laughing at the people you claim you're supposed to be helping." I hung up and laughed at her. Not only did I laugh, we now use it. Whenever things are off in our office, we look at each other and go, "Something not right." So, you all got to go back to work. I got to get back home and move a kid into an apartment again. But I'm coming back. I hope to get back this year for the Bluegrass Festival. I'm going to bring my band. I'm not kidding. If I shot you when I met you, there'd be no there'd be no time left to your to do. I want to leave you with this thing that my mom gave me to give to you. I know that sounds crazy. My mom was the most amazing woman on the planet, but that's not the one I had growing up. She was an abusive alcoholic who went to work every day and did everything she needed to do, but was very, very angry raising her 7 children. And then somewhere in her late 60s, she transformed into the most beautiful earth mother on the planet. And she taught me how to forgive. She said, forgiveness is not about letting somebody else off the hook. It's about getting off the one they put you on. She came to live with me, and my other siblings didn't all embrace this change, but they missed out on this amazing, amazing woman. And sometimes we hold on to things that happened in the past that weren't what we want them to be, and we can't get to the joy and the wonderful that other people see. I don't know why it's so good to you, because I'm not holding on to that stuff. I'm moving forward. So on the day my mom died, and it was a 2-year period, she had a brain tumor that resulted in 5 heart attacks and 6 strokes, and she'd be down and up and down and up. She'd be in ICU eating chicken. And I go, can you put her in a regular room? And the nurse would say, look at her vitals. She's dead. We don't know how she's eating chicken. But on that day, she said, I'm tired. It's time for me to go now. And I said, Mom, stop it. You're not going anywhere. She said, yes, I am. But I laid around this long trying to figure out what to leave you. And I said, you don't have to give me anything. And she said, I do. And when you go talk to people, I want you to share it. I said, stop playing, Mom. She said, well, you know I don't have any money. I've lived with you last 17, 18 years. And all the good jewelry I have, you gave it to me. I don't think it'd be right to give that back. I said, yes, it would. She said, I know what to leave you, and when you go speak to those who do more for others than they do for themselves, I want you to share this with them. And I said, well, the morphine drip's working. She said, I'm going to take all of the generational baggage, the hurt, the shame, the stuff that happened to me, my mother, and her mother before her. I'm going to pack it up and take it with me to the other side. I'm leaving you a clean slate. And when you go speak to those who are doing for everybody else, but they forget to do for themselves, you tell them that me and the ancestors are leaving them a clean slate. I want to personally thank you for making this nation so amazing. The work you do has given me hope in a time that seems confusing and chaotic and divisive. But coming here has let me know it's going to be all right. Thank you.